It's been a busy day here at the Grillo kitchen. I'm cutting the rump hard. These are my 5 secret butcher steak taken from the rump. We have the tri-tip, or the tail, the picanha, South American cut, beautiful, the bistro, which is the rump fillet, the rump heart, which is your big, juicy rump steaks, and then we have the head of the fillet, the Chateaubriand, taken apart delicately to get the best out of a rump steak. And taken apart like this, you can absolutely kill a barbecue. Hi, I'm Mike Malloy from Malloy's Craft Butchery. I'm really excited to be here at the Grillo studio, and today we're talking about a beautiful British beef rump steak. We're not just doing any regular rump steak, we're breaking this apart into individual muscles to give you 5 secret butcher steaks. Curved boning knife, aggressive grip, I'm going to stab. I'm going to take off the head of this fillet. So the fillet does the least work out of all the muscles in the animal, the most tender. Not generally a fantastic flavour, which is why most people will opt to put a sauce with this. So your béarnaise, your peppercorn. So the bit I'm taking out now is the head of the fillet, or the Chateaubriand. Beautiful, lovely, tender steak. So a lot of people get confused with the Chateaubriand and the barrel. The barrel is a continuation of the fillet up into the sirloin. It's where you get your T-bone from. But this wouldn't traditionally be used for a Wellington. So the barrel is perfect, nice, even shape all the way along. Really, really good for a Wellington. This we can use for steaks. We can use for all sorts of other things, carpaccio or stroganoff. But this is generally the lesser part of the fillet, slightly cheaper. So we'll just finish trimming this up. So, if you find a good butcher, especially if they do a lot of wholesale or catering, most chefs are not going to want this piece of fillet. So you can generally get a pretty good deal out of them. So, moving down into the tail section, we are just taking out this huge piece of rump bone here. Cool. The fat we can either turn into tallow or put it into burgers. This is the dry age. This is, again, not particularly nice to eat, hasn't got a great flavour, but it really protects it. So when it's dry aging, you get a crust almost. You can hear that now. So we're going to cut it off. Your first slice of your rump always comes off like so. This is our basic beef rump. If you look at the 2 ends, you have, we call the tail, and then the picanha. The tail. So this would follow on into the back leg, the silver side muscle. This is what's known as tri-tip in America. As Brits, we tend to just have this little tail here, which has a lovely little seam. We can take that off, and that will give you 2 or 3 beautiful marbled steaks. Next, we've got the picanha. So I'm just going to take this off now. Just following the seams, this little connective tissue, which comes off. The picanha is triangular in shape and gives us this beautiful, lovely piece like so. And this wants a little bit of trimming up. So we're taking off all the excess fat, again, for burgers, or rendered down into beef tallow. Beef tallow can be used as a cooking aid instead of olive oil, that kind of thing. Really, really delicious. Or you can use it on your roast potatoes. The way I cook this is I'll score the fat, like so, which again allows it to render down quicker. And then I'll cook that fat side down in a frying pan or on a barbecue, finish it off, let it rest, and then slice it once it's cooked. A really great sharer for sort of 3 or 4 people. So I'm just cutting these into nice little single steaks, and then these will go on our churrasco skewer to be cooked on the Grillo Gusto. We're smashing this, it almost looks like I know what I'm doing. So, we're back with our full beef rump. Again, you'll see a lot of butchers cutting a nice steak off of here, but for me, this needs to be split into 2 different steaks. The bistro, or the fillet, of the rump, and then the rump heart. The bistro steak is a really interesting steak, super lean, super sort of nice shape, almost like a fillet. So this can be used in a Wellington. Isn't going to be as tender as the Delmonico or the fillet, but still a really, really fantastic steak. A lot of my customers will ask for this piece specifically because it's got the flavour of the rump, which is huge, and then a really, really nice tender piece. And what we're left with is this beautiful bistro rump fillet. So, the rump heart. A little bit heavy covering of fat on here. We're just going to trim some of this off. It's a nice, hard-working muscle on the animal. So it isn't going to be hugely tender, but when taken at the right angle, which is slightly off perfect. So when we trim that up, we go directly across the muscle grain, and what you're left with is this beautiful rump heart. It's slightly cheaper, so it's a really good opportunity to get a really nice thick steak out of this and do it on a really, really hot barbecue. Again, 1.5 inch thick, 4 or 5 minutes either side, let it rest for 10 minutes. Really, really delicious. I'm cutting the rump heart. Delicious. Lovely little steak. Next, we have the Chateaubriand, taken from the beef fillet. Nice little barrel steak there. Delicious. Next, we have the tri-tip. Cut slightly off angle, so we'll just square this up. A delicious steak. Then we have the bistro fillet, my favorite. Huge flavor, cooks like a fillet, tastes like a rump. And then from our earlier video, we have picanha. Love salt. I'm not a huge fan of pepper. I've got a really great chef that works for me that absolutely despises pepper, so I've learned to develop my palate without pepper. Let's get these on the skewers. Whoa, this is hot. Lovely. This is going to be incredible. Whoa. I was a doorman for 10 years, and when people see a fat boy body roll, their mood changes. Whew. That's some hella flame. That fat's really starting to caramelise. You ask, what's my beef? All of it.